Okay, so as always, setup great, really, really good. The right hand one now kind of showcases sort of the movement we're talking about. Takeaway is good. As you get to bat here, though, it's all a bit of a kind of lift up sort of to the top of the back, so not really kind of sort of turning into that right hip as well as you want to. Therefore, as we come back down now, there's going to be a tendency for that golf club to get, we call it, outside the line. The golf club now is kind of pointing at the golf ball, and the next one now is kind of impact. So not a bad impact position. This shot went sort of over here somewhere. So it wasn't a bad shot, certainly. It's nowhere near when we, in the past, but going back now, probably pre-COVID, your club would be kind of out here somewhere, really chopping across the golf ball, swinging a long way to the left, which again is that big high cutty one, and lose a lot of yardage, okay? So you're definitely getting less of that, okay? But just to push that on again, another level forward again now, we want that club to be working a lot more, turning into that right hip. So you get a nice good turn the shoulders there now. Right hip, we can sort of see sort of the belt buckle lines there, sort of turning back behind you. Now, when you're here, one thing you sometimes do in the practice is a little big dip, and you watch yourself now there.
Yeah.
Don't need to be dipping, okay? All we're really doing is taking our hips from the top of the backswing here now, just sort of doing that, just sort of rocking back. I've never been skiing before, but I'm guessing when you ski, it's kind of that kind of motion there. If you did this, then you went, you'd probably fall off the skis, yeah? So you want to try and keep your top half kind of in a good kind of height there. This dropping here now is a little bit too, which is why the club's going to hit the ground. But you can see there now as you come into impact how this right shoulder now is back and under. The shoulder's now aiming more to the right, which will encourage more a path this way. Hence the reason why your golf balls on the screen have been hitting more this shape of shot rather than cutting it, okay? There's a much better strike pattern direction with the club, okay? And this is obviously exaggerations, okay? You lost a bit of balance there, sort of trying to, because of the dip, you see, if you dip, you will tend to lose a bit of balance because you're not really kind of swinging sort of sink really, okay? So that's good. Just a bit of a drop there, okay? But I don't mind that as long as it start going there, but try to avoid that too much of a drop with the top half, yeah? The hip movement's certainly better. You can see as you come into the golf ball there now. That does not look like a golfer could ever send the golf ball over in that direction. It just looks like going over there somewhere, which is, again, exaggerated, which is fine, because we're trying to move the path from being too much in this direction to too much in that direction, which then hopefully would create that direction. And that's the idea. So you over-exaggerate the practice, okay, as we go through. Okay, so in terms of actual swing there now, top of the backswing. There we go. So the movement coming down now. There's the club shaft now. You can see how much more inside that is, okay? And if we then go into impact there now, look at those two positions there now. If I clear these lines there and there, there's a daylight between your right arm and your left arm. So your right arm is still back, your shoulders are still square. You can sort of see your top there now. The white of your top is visible here rather than being blocked by the arms. So this position now, the body sort of turned more so this one. And that's actually before, that's just after impact, and that's just before. The ball's still kind of there. So the fact your shoulders are there on this next one, you're probably, it's a bit too fast to go from the next frame, but yeah, it's probably a bit too much, but that's probably similar to where you were there. Shoulders there are very much in line to target here. It's where the ball needs to go, where these ones are a little bit more to the left. We're just sending that ball to the left because your shoulder alignment will dictate path, yeah? If your shoulders are swinging left because of either poor hip turn or too much hip turn on the way down, your arms are swinging left. Better hip turn on the way back and slide. So the thought, the feeling for you now is turn, slide, not that.
Yeah.
Okay? So almost feel from here now that you're almost going downhill that way. I'm moving to the left, but keeping my height up here. I don't want to be going and dropping, okay? There will be a slight drop, but don't need to try and do that because if the hips move correctly,
that's my
the body will do that.
The hardest thing for me to do is that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's often the case when the reason why it's the hardest thing is that you keep going back away from it because it's harder to do. Yeah, the lack of playing for 3 months, human nature will find an easier way to do anything. Yeah, if it's easier to swing a golf club without doing something you find difficult, we'll do the easy way, won't we? Which is for you is going to be spinning to the left. But the fact we've got your golf ball now starting online, now you fell back a little bit there, okay, but that ball flight now is much more towards target, and that's the sort of first time I've seen you draw a golf ball out there and bring it back there consistently, okay? We've seen you draw a ball before, but it starts over and just disappears off the camera, so it's no good really being that far left, okay? But a better turn in the backswing, and again, a slight bump on the way through. Don't think it's sliding too much, tipping with the body, because I think you'll get too much what we call underneath, where you kind of, where you lose your height, you just dump the club in the ground behind the golf ball. So it's turn that right hip, this way. If you're using the sticks through the belt buckle, you want to see turn and level. We don't want to see turn and then too steep that way.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're using the sticks there through your belt buckle, when we're doing that, it should be fairly level as you come up. We don't want to be exaggerating that tip for you, especially because you do it too much, basically. Okie dokie?
Yeah.
Makes
thanks.
sense?
Yes, thanks, guys.
Excellent. No, it's great. The shot's brilliant. Really, really good, I got to say.